Alright, hello there. Thank you, my subscribers, as always, for the support. I'm going to go ahead, because I just feel like laying around today. I'm going to play this silly Nintendo game called Shadowgate, one of my favorite games ever, which is pretty much just another name for the sun as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going to go over some stuff, and it can all be verified. A lot of it's theory and conjecture, but some of it can absolutely be easily verified. And some of this is a continuation on from my work before with the 369 and the Constellations. But we're going to go through it all over again, except for this time you're not going to have the visual aids, because you can just go through my last videos and see all that. I don't need to redo it all over again. Got lucky enough getting by with the copyright that I did anyway. Stuff that I had anyway in that video. Didn't want to take my chances. So, 369, right? Saturn, the sun, and the moon. So here is what I'm thinking is happening. The stars, the constellations, like I showed before. You know, those things are like, I showed that video of a speaker, a stereo speaker, and it was pulsating inside and out, and there was paint on top of the speaker, and as that speaker was kind of bouncing in and out, pulsating in and out, the paint was bouncing all over the place and all that, what have you, right? So, and that's my theory, that the stars up in the heavens are doing the same thing, that they're not twinkling, that they're pulsating, they're emitting light, which is a frequency, which is a tone, which is a vibration. And the sun's doing the same thing. And you have Saturn, which is... what? You had Saturn, have Saturn, which original name is Bell Saturn, right? And again, we're not arguing about what they said because we don't need to. Who gives a shit? What they said whenever they landed on the moon, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, those guys, whoever it was that said it, one of those clowns said that the moon rang like a bell whenever they landed on it. And scientists have said before, and it's, you know, accepted by the scientific community, that the Earth vibrates like a bell. So this is all one big song that's being played. And I think the sound, the song, is coming from the bell, from Bell Saturn. And again, another scientific fact, quote unquote, that the sun and the planet Saturn are connected by this thing called a magnetic flux rope. So the Saturn and the sun are connected, absolutely. All the other planets are as well too, but it's a scientific fact that Saturn and the sun are connected via some magnetic flux rope that we cannot see with our eyes, but it's there. So it's my theory, as well as a few other people as well, that there is a signal, a vibration, light even, coming from Saturn. And that light, that song, that sound, is coming through the sun, or being emitted by the sun, or better yet, really, to be honest, what I think is being converted by the sun. So that light is coming from Saturn, it's being converted by the sun, and then is projected out to us, and that light is being reflected, it's bouncing off the moon. And our eyes, we are sucking that light in, because as we're even told, there are stars in our eyes. That's what we're told, and we have a sun, a solar plexus inside of us. So the stars above, the sun itself, it's emitting this signal, and it's coming through our eyes. We're digesting it, we're receiving it through our eyes, because they even say the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? And that energy starts, we suck it in through our eyes. It starts at our feet, where our souls are, because the souls are on the bottom of your feet, and that's why I don't know exactly what they're doing or how it works, but that's why those perverts and those pedophiles like the Pope and what have you, they go around and they wash people's feet. because it's got water as the perfect conductor, and also it's what makes up, you know, the planet and you, the majority of it, and all this, what have you. But regardless, soul, your soul is you're on the bottom of your feet. That's why even when in the military, right, they chop all your hair off, so they take away your antenna. And then on top of it, you're always, unless you're PTing, you're always wearing big, heavy freaking boots, man. So they want you out of touch so you can be brainwashed and controlled easier. So that energy, that light comes through the sun. It's converted by the sun, whatever. Bounces off the moon. We suck it through our eyes. And this stuff also, I think, comes through our mind, our third eye as well. And so then that energy somehow starts and spirals down, probably like our spinal cord, goes down to our soles of our feet, comes up through our root chakra, back up our spinal cord, and out through the top of our head. And the same with the earth. And the earth is all connected because the earth is bouncing energy off as well, and it's the same thing. It starts at one pole of the earth and goes to the other. And that's what I think the aurora borealis is that energy being emitted from the earth, the spiritual energy, if you will. And our sun inside of us, because we have one, everyone has one, it's the solar plexus, right? So we take that light in that comes from Saturn, that is emitted or converted by the sun. It's bounced off the moon. That's your sun, your 369, your Saturn, sun, and the moon, and then the earth. And then it comes back to us. And that light comes through our eyes. We have stars in our eyes. It goes to the bottom of our feet, back up to the root chakra. And then they even say, right, what's the best way to a man's heart? Through his stomach? Well, you got to go through the sun to get to the heart, and the heart's father. So you got to go through the sun. You got to go through the stomach to get to the heart, just like they say, best way to a man's heart's through his stomach. And so that energy, that light, that tone, that vibration is converted by the sun in us. And that's the aura that we present. This is just me speculating, okay? So that's where our auras, our vibrations come from. You know, you're either walking around, you take that light, that external light, and then whatever you got going inside your head, you know, your emotions, your thoughts, and your bad thoughts, you can't control every one of them, all right? There's a whole part of our brain that's not even subject to God because it's the carnal brain. You know, that's those evil and awful thoughts sometimes it's not you. That's just another way to keep you guilty and to keep you upset and to keep you sad and keep you lower vibration. So we take in that external light, and then whatever's going on in our heads and our hearts, that's where evil really lurks and lives, is in the hearts and minds of men. Our solar plexus, our sun inside, processes all that, and that's the aura or the vibration we emit. You know, you're either shining bright like E.T., or you got that black heart like Mr. Burns in The Simpsons does. That's what I think, anyway. I think that's kind of where I'm at. And there are 88 constellations, and there are 88 keys on a piano. And again, we know this is all tone, frequency, and vibration, and all that stuff. So there's a song being played. And that's why I even said, like, nature used to be in perfect harmony. Like, and yeah, unison, everything worked together in balance, but it also could mean, and I think it does, a song. And Saturn's rings, where the song is coming from, the rings are named A, B, C, D, and E, and F, and I think even G. So you even have Saturn's rings that are music notes. And whenever you speak, whenever you sing, whenever you do whatever you do, you're using your vocal cords. And I think Saturn must be emitting an A chord and an E chord, a freaking power chord we never even... That's just the power chord of all power chords. And the reason why I say that is because think of the 7 continents too, right? Which you can have a whole lot of fun with that. So this coming to an end, man. This whole cycle, this creation is done and a new one's beginning. Nothing's ever, it will never end. This place will never go, I mean, it's just things are going to change. The world will never end. It just keep going and going and going. And that's why we keep repeating history, is because we keep stepping, we can't go forward if you keep making the same mistakes over and over again. That's why we're doing the same shit. Anyway, why I think it's an A and an E chord, because think of the 7 continents. Okay, North and South, but that's not really important. North and South America, right? Then there's Asia. Then there's Antarctica. Then there's Australia. Then there is Africa. Well, what do all those start and end with? An A, except for Europe. Europe starts and ends with an E. That's not by, there's no way that's by mistake. You got 7 continents, 6 of them start and end with the same consonant, or excuse me, the same vowel, and then another one starts and ends with the same vowel. So that's pretty effing, I just think that's too, no, sorry, just not going to believe, oh shit, no, I forgot what I did, I missed something. Sorry, it's kind of hard to do this at the same time, but, so that's what I think is going on right now. And we're batteries, of course, right? Because we're energy too, and all this. Like I said, we're putting out whatever we're putting out. You're either putting out hope and love or fear and hate, And so let's talk about the sun now, because this was pretty interesting stuff. There was a comment on one of my newer videos by a guy named Meat Poet, and he left some pretty interesting stuff and was talking about the sun being feminine. Because even in my little astrology book that I have here, it says the sun is masculine and the moon is feminine. Well, it turns out that it really doesn't seem like that's the case, that is indeed backwards. Because you have a whole lot of old cultures. One of them, and we're talking like Sanskrit and even older than that, but one of them in particular is Old Germanic. And there was a sun goddess, and her name was Sana. And all this comes from the same stuff from Egyptian. And I really follow the Germanic stuff, because that's what's running everything. And them and the Jews are so closely tied together and are working so much together that it's hard to tell them apart. And you have, because even the royal family. The royal family's not British, they're German. They changed their name from Wettin, which was German. This is because due to the anti-German sentiment after World War I. So the British family changed from Wettin, which was German, to Windsor, which is British, or English. And why is it Windsor? It's wind-zar. What's wind? That's air. What's that? That's Aquarius. What's that? That's where we are. In Aquarius right now. And then on top of it, you have the Germans working hand in hand with the Muslims. You have the Muslims using, and Hitler in the concentration camps, whenever they would mark the Jews or even the Christians, they'd have to wear those marks, those stars. That was being done by an Islamic imam like back in like the 6th or 7th or 8th century Baghdad. So they're all using the same stuff. And going right along, I mean, they're all doing the same thing, and they're all working together. So it's hard to tell where one starts and one ends. You got one saying they're the master race. You got one saying they're the chosen race. You got one saying they want to do the third temple. You got one saying they want to do the Third Reich. You know what I mean? And then on top of it all, think of World War I again. Think about Russia. That place was being run by Queen Alexandria, who was running Russia, but she was born in Germany. Her father was Germany, and her great grandmother was German. So that's what even caused the revolution in Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution in World War I, because you had the black magic magician behind closed doors, Rasputin, running right alongside with Alexandria, running Russia. And the Russians were fighting the Germans in World War I, and the Russians were like, what the hell? We got basically a German running Russia, and we're fighting the Germans. What is going on? And there's way more examples than that. I mean, those two are so close, you know. You got the swastika, it's a black cube. You got Islam circling a black cube. So I'm going to pay attention to that stuff, and those guys had an ancient sun goddess named Sunna. And if you think about this stuff, man, without the sun, there wouldn't be the earth. Without the earth, there wouldn't be a mother. Without a mother, we wouldn't have children. Right? And if you're a man, guess what? You came from a woman. Did you not? And don't you think it's funny that women have nipples and men have nipples, but the man's nipples serve no purpose whatsoever? So I can see why. The son would be considered female. And what they did is you had a bunch of dudes who hijacked that, and they assigned the feminine to the moonlight, basically the lesser light, right, and kept the brightness of the sun for themselves. So you got a bunch of men telling you what to worship, so you're worshiping man. Because they hijacked the true feminine sun, called it a man, and now you're worshiping men, or thinking that Jesus was a man. And I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying you're worshiping sun gods who are, because the majority of the time are after men, are masculine, and they're keeping the true brightness for themselves because you're worshiping their stuff, which is worshiping the man. And that's where you got the obelisk, right? The penis and all this kind of what have you. And whenever you see them, and that's where you got the word mason from. Break that up. Masons. Ma's sons. They're mommy's boys. That's why they run around with when you see them with the Baphomet or the five-pointed star. That's Venus. That's what Venus does. That's the orbital pattern of Venus. I've shown you this before. That whole Baphomet five-pointed star stuff comes from the orbit of Venus. That's the woman. The woman, I mean, talk about it all the time anyway in the Bible. The woman and all this stuff, what have you. It's Mother Earth, for crying out loud. So they're a bunch of mommy's boys, man. There's just something I was going to say. Oh, and they hold up the 666, right? And that's really, I mean, it is indeed. It's also the sign of man, 666, but it's also the number 3, and that's because there are 3 layers to the sun. And there you go, the sun, feminine. Or there's a real awfully strong case for it. And here's the thing. You could even go as far as to say, this is the one thing I'm going to read to you. This is from a article. This is a big, mainstream science article. Physicists, when was this? This was over a year ago, so sometime last year. Physicists agree that 13 to 15 billion years ago, our universe was created by a Big Bang. But where did that Big Bang come from? A new theory posited by a group of physicists presents the possibility that our universe is nestled inside a black hole. We may have a mother, I'll say it again, we may have a mother universe that is one of many universes, and black holes may be the passageways between them. So you can even go as far as to say that the woman is black, because we are black hole. Our universe is nestled inside a black hole. And that would be a good excuse for racism, right? Why people just hate, not even just white people, but could hate black people altogether. Look what that separation from your mother did to you. You don't care what their character is. You care about the color of their skin. That's what the separation did. That's why you hate people, not you. I'm sorry, I'm just saying, but people, not you. I wasn't aiming this at anyone. But where the racism towards black people come from. It's a subconscious thing, because guess what? We could be living inside of our mother's womb. Because without the light out there, if the moonlight doesn't come out and the sunlight doesn't come out, we're in the dark. So that tells me we're inside something, meaning probably the womb. And that's not what the Hoover Dam is all about, the breaking, the water being broke, the birth. So that's where I'm at. And the stars and the constellations and all that stuff up above, you know, it's whenever I get this, I'm still working on trying to get the videos uploaded to the site. We're still working on that. And whenever that's done, I will put that video on there where it shows more about the constellations and what they could be and why I think that what they are is what they are, which I'll just go ahead and tell you now, but I'll show you more of why I think that is in that video, hopefully the next couple of weeks max. But that thing is just one big storybook up there. It tells you the who, the what, the when, the where, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not the why, because that's for you to decide. And those stars, maybe it's a bunch of souls, man. I think we're just floating in, because guess what? That's what, you know, the water all around us is. Guess Mom, just like us, just like the earth is made of water, or mostly made of water. Right? So we're floating around in an egg, maybe possibly, in a bunch of water. Bobbing up and down, floating around, and if I'm not mistaken, there was someone, Chris and Love your channel, by the way. I think you've done some great work. You've always been cool to me, so thank you very much. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I thought it was you or someone else who said they had a dream, or that's what it was, like a bunch of planets just floating in water. And that the stars above, it's a storybook. It's literally maybe a lullaby, because we're told also could be one big dream. That's what Nightmare on Elm Street's all about, man. It's one big nightmare or dream come true. It all depends. And all this is and that's what the first word in the Bible is the word in. It's in the beginning, because we're inside something. You see why the shape of the earth doesn't matter, whether it's flat, whether it's a sphere, whether it's rectangle, it doesn't matter, because we're inside something. And basically we're just going, you know, I don't really know the ins and outs of, I guess we come out and we go on whenever we're ready. I don't really know exactly how it works. Like I said, this is all just theory and speculation and stuff I'm finding, but it's all this is inside that, which is, we're inside a universe, which is inside a universe, which is inside a universe. Because think about it again. Think about just a woman giving birth. Okay, so a woman gives birth to a baby girl. Well, a baby girl has eggs inside of her. So the mother is a universe that gave birth to a baby daughter, which is a universe which has eggs inside of her, which can promote or which could produce yet another universe. So that's universe inside a universe inside a universe inside a universe. It just goes and goes and goes. And the mother it's Mother Earth, right? Well, Mother Earth has to have a mother too. I had to stop playing. I couldn't do both. I couldn't do both. Almost got a beat anyway. I think that's about as far as I got it right now. And we got, you know, you've got basically, it's like we're like in a water park, man. And you've got a whole bunch of people in line for two slides. One that goes left, one that goes right. But right eventually takes you left, and left eventually takes you right. There's a third way. There's a middle slide, but you can't see it with your eyes. You can only see it with your heart. So people don't see the middle. But that's the one you want. Anything else I want to add to that? I think I've given everybody enough to think on. I don't know what this is. We're in glass or crystal or whatever the case may be. But I think that's what you got. You got this light coming out, bouncing off the moon, bouncing off the earth, bouncing off us. And just like Hellraiser 4, which I'm going to show whenever I get the website going, that's what happened in Hellraiser. They created this box that trapped light inside of itself. And once you opened up the box, the light came out and got rid of the demons. So that's what they said. They had light trapped inside itself, bouncing off itself, feeding off itself. So we're inside this glass, crystal, whatever this is surrounding us, firmament. And for all we know, we could be floating inside the womb of a woman. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks to my subscribers. Hey, let me know what you think. I'm just spitballing out here. I don't know. This doesn't take away from anything. Father, you just got one big, loving, happy family. Man, what's so hard to believe about that? Why wouldn't you want to believe that? I don't know. It's something to think about. Oh, and one more thing. This word Ra, it comes from the same word that was used to describe the feminine sun goddess Sana. Because even the Egyptians, like the word Ra comes from the word ray. The rays of light were considered the masculine, but what was going on inside the sun was considered feminine. So that's even black hole sun, or all this stuff is tied to that as well. But what was going deep inside the sun, just like in us, it's no different than whenever you talk about going deep inside yourself, and that's like considered being nurturing or considered using the feminine energy. Because guys are supposed to be so big and bad and tough and masculine, and right, you're not supposed to be in touch with your feelings. You're not supposed to be in touch with your deeper inner core, your deep inside, which they say the sun could potentially have a black hole inside of it, or could lead to a black hole. Regardless, that's not important right now. What's important is that even the Egyptians, the light that came from the sun was masculine, but what was going on inside, deep inside the sun, they considered to be feminine. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Please check and share or like my music if you would. Just want to put it below, dearlybelovedband.com. Trying to put it all together in music too. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks to my subscribers out there.